For the first time since 2003, advertisers can finally see exactly where their ads are showing across the Search Partner Network. After suddenly dropping out of all shopping campaigns last month, Amazon has now started spending on Google Shopping once again, but interestingly not in US markets. And it looks like search campaigns are dropping manual language settings entirely, which could cause chaos across global ad campaigns. We'll be talking about all that and more in the August edition of Lunio's Paid Media News Show. I'm Ben from the content team here at Lunio.
And I'm James, content lead at Lunio. Each month, we're here to recap the top 5 headlines from the world of paid media so you can stay up to speed with the latest developments. Plus, we'll bring you helpful commentary from leading marketers so you can see how the experts are reacting to the news. With that said, let's get into our first story. One of the biggest PPC news stories from our first episode in July was Amazon completely dropping out of all Google Shopping auctions, leaving a huge void for competitors to fill. Well, we hope you enjoyed it while it lasted. Amazon has once again started spending on Google Shopping, appearing as an account level competitor for 3/4 of European advertisers overnight. The Amazon advertising outage lasted exactly 1 month, suggesting that it was in fact a marketing measurement test, one that the US market has probably failed. This is because while Amazon has started advertising on Google Shopping again in the EU, they haven't started advertising in their home turf, the US market. Could this mean that Amazon has permanently exited Google Shopping in the US?
While it may be too early to tell, we wanted to quickly mention Optimizer's recent study outlining the impact of Amazon leaving Google Shopping for a month. Ultimately, clicks rose by 7.8%, but interestingly, ROAS fell by almost 5% across all categories combined. In PPC, cheaper clicks aren't always a win if they don't turn into profitable customers. And without Amazon-level pricing and convenience, many brands fell into the volume trap. To help unpack what Amazon's return really means, we asked Mike Ryan for his thoughts on why Amazon reactivated Google Shopping everywhere except the US, and whether he thinks Amazon no longer sees Google Shopping as essential.
First off, I want to say thanks for having me on the show and bringing this question to me. It's a really interesting one, and the short, unsatisfying answer is that I don't know. To understand this, to answer this, we'd have to understand why Amazon turned off advertising in the first place, and we don't know about that. There's a kind of a broad consensus that is formed that this was a marketing measurement test, which could be the case. I can't say that that's not true. I think somehow it's a kind of cavemanish way of conducting a test like this. It's very heavy-handed, to say the least. I also feel that Amazon has been investing so much money in Google for so long that they have a pretty clear-eyed view about what that channel is for them. But assuming that's the case, then you could say that the US sort of failed or passed, depending on how you want to think about it, that they failed this incrementality test, that Google Shopping is not really necessary for Amazon. Their brand presence is so strong, etc. And that's why they, in these growth markets, these expansion markets internationally, maybe they still need that ad pressure. I mean, I think another possibility here is that in the US, it's where Amazon's own ad tech offering is the most mature, and they're testing out new things like running their own PLAs, their own outbound PLAs on Amazon that go to different e-commerce shops. They also, if you think about what Google Shopping achieves for them, I mean, for the sellers, it's basically Amazon gifting them off-site advertising, which is attractive in its own way as a value proposition. But Amazon has their own off-site now, and that's something that they've worked hard to build out. It also functions as a way for Amazon to buy market share in a way, or steal product searches from Google. But you can't say they're stealing the product searches because they pay for them. You know, advertising is a heck of a way to do that. It's super unclear right now, to be really honest. And I know that's not really satisfying, but unless we get like leaked information from Amazon or Google, I don't think we can say conclusively. And the meanwhile, without understanding, we don't know how long they'll stay out from the US. So it's something that we just have to keep observing and hope we get smarter as it goes.
Mike has been the leading voice to break new developments on the Amazon Google Shopping fiasco, and each post he makes gets a lot of engagement. So it's great to get his more in-depth thoughts on the whole Amazon/Google Shopping fallout. We've linked to his latest post on the story in the description below. Moving on to some huge news now. Google is finally releasing Search Partner Network placement reporting for search, shopping, and app campaigns. And kudos to Google for moving quickly here. It only took them 22 years to do it. Just like placement reporting in PMax campaigns, you can now see exactly where your ads are showing across the Search Partner Network for all search, shopping, and app campaigns. The new report lists every site within the Search Partner Network where your campaigns appeared, along with detailed impression data for each placement. It'll be interesting to see if this encourages more advertisers to use the Search Partner Network, which has historically been associated with poor performance and a lack of transparency.
As Ben mentioned, this is massive news for anyone opted in to the Search Partner Network who previously haven't been able to see where their ads were showing since 2003. Ayisha Yousef wrote a great LinkedIn post about this, questioning whether Google is adding genuine transparency or just trying to push more advertisers back into the Search Partner Network. We reached out to Ayisha directly to get her thoughts on the new SPN reports and whether the reporting update is likely to draw advertisers back into the Search Partner Network.
A couple of things struck me when I first heard about the announcement a couple of weeks ago. The Search Partner Network has been around since 2003, so why on earth are they doing it now? The reason why they want to do this is because obviously they are in a situation where they have less and less placements available to them with the rise of LLMs such as ChatGPT, etc. So really what they're trying to do is look for more ways to monetize the inventory that they have available to them already. That posed another question to me as well. So if Google truly wanted to be transparent with the Search Partner Network, why is it that they're only giving us impression data? If they really wanted us to trust in the Search Partner Network, then surely they would be providing us with conversion level data as well, just to show off how good the Search Partner Network is. One more thing to think about is, will they really truly give us all the information and every single placement, or will they group some of the placements into other, just like what they do with search terms, so they have other search terms? My recommendations would be to give this a test, but only if you're in a good position to do so. If you have an account that's looking to scale and you've fully used all of the reach that you have available to the account, then this could be a good option for you. If you are working with an account that is already hitting its KPIs in terms of CPA, ROAS, then this could also be a good use case for search partners, because as we know, the search partners will obviously be converting at a lower rate than some of your other campaigns and campaign types. And then finally, if you're working with a brand that doesn't mind so much where they show up, so if you're working with someone who is very pernickety on where their ads are placed, then this isn't for them. Final pro tip before you opt into search partners, I recommend that you overlay a placement exclusion list. This can make sure that you have some level of control before you even set these live.
And there you have it. Big thanks to Ayisha for sharing your thoughts with us there. Go and follow her on LinkedIn if you're not doing so already for her smart takes, practical advice, and the occasional PPC meme to brighten up your day. Now, let's move on to a super impactful change that's flown somewhat under the radar. Google is dropping manual language targeting settings from search campaigns. Recently, paid search director Ezra Sackett noticed the following paragraph in the Google Help article. Quote, "By the end of 2025, the language targeting setting will be removed from Google Ads search campaigns. You won't have to set a campaign language targeting manually." End quote. It then went on to state that language will automatically be detected with the help of Google AI, something that's caused quite a stir amongst marketers. The comments on Ezra's post were divided, to say the least. You've got marketers such as Judy Friedman-Bacchini saying, why Google, why, with her reasoning being that she'd, quote, "trust the AI more if it were better, but it's not there yet, and we have to keep pretending it is," end quote. Julie also made the valid point that smaller advertisers don't have the budget runway when Google's AI gets it wrong. Jill Saskin-Gales, previous contributor to this show, sits somewhere in the middle, saying that she doesn't mind the change, but it's the wording that annoys her. She made the point that Google often tries to frame it as, quote, "trust our AI, you don't need to think about this anymore," end quote.
Interestingly, Google removed the paragraph from the Help article just a few days after Ezra initially shared the news. But we'd be very surprised to see Google scrap their plan to remove manual language settings entirely. It's more likely that Google were not expecting the backlash they received, and are instead preparing how to better communicate the change and perhaps just delay the rollout. We asked Duane Brown for his take on the inevitable removal of manual language targeting and his recommendations for marketers who may be impacted by the change.
I understand why people are pissed off. They feel like control is being taken away, and if you feel that way, you would not be incorrect. However, I think most people actually use the setting incorrectly. A lot of times people think if they set English or French or Spanish as the language setting on their campaign, that they're only going to target people who type in English, Spanish, or French. Now, this could not be further from the truth. The reason that is because Google looks at 3 settings when it comes to deciding when to show you an ad. It looks at what you type into Google as one setting, obviously, but it also looks at the language setting for your phone or whatever device you're using, and it looks at what sites you visited in the past. And so as long as one of those 3 signals is the same language as what is set on a campaign, then there's a chance your ad would show to that person regardless of what they typed into Google, all things being equal. Now, should you think this setting is going to impact you in some grand way that you need to mitigate your risk, well, the obvious thing to do is look at your search term report, add more negative keywords, and monitor to see if this change actually has an impact, because having done campaigns in 54 different countries on 5 different continents, there's tons of times where we would see searches that were not in English for an English retailer, whether it's in North America, UK, Australia. You'd see searches from people who speak French, Russian, Spanish, and a dozen other languages. And so there's always been an opportunity where your ads will show to people in another language than what you think your ad should show in. And at the end of the day, as long as those people convert, that's all I care about.
Appreciate Duane for coming on and sharing his insights. Moving on to a big update from Meta this month. They're rolling out a brand new creative testing feature designed to help advertisers find their best performing ads. Here's how it works. Marketers can now test multiple versions of the same ad within the same ad set. That's a big deal because it means all the learnings stay contained in that set instead of being diluted across campaigns or ad groups. Ad delivery on Meta is now driven less by targeting settings and far more by the creative itself. Previously, the challenge has been, how do you make small tweaks and test them fairly without the system showing each variation to completely different audiences? This new feature aims to solve that problem entirely.
Performance marketer Dario Zanoni wrote an in-depth LinkedIn post about how he plans on using the new creative testing feature. We'll link the full post down below, but a few highlights include testing different calls to action, small creative variations, toggling Advantage Plus enhancements on or off, testing new formats, and more. For those planning on using the feature, it can be enabled from the Ads Editor menu. It runs inside the same ad set, and so far, Meta allows advertisers to test 2 to 5 variations of the same ad at once. Eager not to be outdone by Meta, Google are releasing their own testing feature, this time for their new AI Max for search campaigns. This takes the form of AI Max for search experiments, which theoretically makes it much easier for advertisers to start experimenting with AI Max. So far, for those brave enough to test AI Max, they've seen pretty mixed results. The new AI Max experiments feature simplifies testing, a move Google no doubt hopes will push more advertisers towards experimenting with AI Max campaigns. AI Max for search experiments work very similarly to the broad match experiments Google recently launched. Instead of duplicating campaigns into separate control and trial groups, AI Max experiments run within the same campaign, meaning no split campaign setup, and in theory, faster, statistically valid results.
By default, experiments test search term matching and asset optimization at the campaign level. You can switch specific AI Max features on or off at either the campaign or ad group level. The budget split is fixed at 50-50, and results are auto-applied by default, though you can turn that off if you prefer. So far, not many have tried AI Max for search experiments, or if they have, they're yet to share any results publicly. So if you do plan on trying them yourself, we'd love to hear your thoughts on AI Max in the comments below. That's it for this month's episode of the Paid Media News Show. Links to all the posts mentioned in the episode can be found in the description. So go ahead and check those out, and of course follow the PPC experts who contributed to the wider discussion and provided their insights in this episode. For more PPC news and advice, we have a whole bunch of free resources linked below. And by subscribing to our newsletter, you'll get the next episode of the news show delivered straight to your inbox. And if you're after actionable strategies and tips that can be applied to your PPC campaigns today, be sure to check out our Paid Media Lab podcast, where James interviews some of the most respected voices in the industry about the tactics that are keeping them one step ahead of the competition. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next month to discuss the important PPC news, key headlines, and expert insights you need to know about.